Hello, I'm Commissioner Thomas Hicks, the Chairman of the United States Election Assistance Commission. Thank you for inviting me to address this USC Election Cybersecurity Initiative Regional Workshop. The security of elections has always been a priority of the EAC, other federal partners, and state and local election officials. The topic of election security and cybersecurity has also increasingly gained the attention of the public, driving communications about the safeguards in place in the transparency of elections. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss the role the EAC plays in keeping elections secure and supporting officials as they administer elections across the country. Part of the EAC's mission is to serve as a clearinghouse for best practices on election administration. Over the last year, the EAC has expanded efforts to provide officials with valuable work product with the establishment of the Clearinghouse Department made up of former election officials and experts with specific knowledge in election administration and related subjects. These EAC staff bring their expertise from across the country, and one subject matter expert is solely focused on accessibility. Clearinghouse resources range from language accessibility and serving voters with disabilities to election and election official security. I'd like to highlight a few of these resources, but invite you to visit eac.gov/election officials for all the EAC's latest products. The EAC's Voting System Security Measures Guide was written not only so voters can better understand how voting systems are secure and the safeguarding in place, but also to assist election officials as they communicate with the public about the security of elections in their communities. Also related to election security, the EAC developed an incident response checklist to help election officials make incident response easier to plan, implement, and access. This document outlines considerations as officials develop, implement, and review response plans. No one should ever face violent threats at work, but unfortunately, this is a reality for many election officials. In response to these ongoing threats, the EAC has developed and compiled resources from other federal agencies to help election officials keep themselves and their staff safe. These resources include a personal security for election officials checklist, which is a quick reference with proactive steps to improve security and steps to document and report every threat. Recently, the EAC added a memo with information from Google's Personal Identification Information, PII, removal process, which is an option for election officials to remove URLs containing their personal information. In addition to securing elections, communicating with the public about the systems and safeguards in place is a critical piece of this equation. With this in mind, the EAC has developed toolkits that allow for election officials of any size jurisdiction to customize materials like posters and handouts with their branding links and information. Topics for these materials include elections and post-election processes like reporting, canvassing, and certification. The EAC is also charged by the Help America Vote Act to distribute, administer, and audit the use of HAVA election security funds. This year, Congress dedicated $75 million in election security grants. This builds off the investment of $805 million in election security grants distributed in 2018 and 2020, and $400 million in CARES Act grants for responding to the pandemic. These funds supplement what is being done at a state and local level to keep elections secure, update voting systems, and establish innovative programs to assist in the administration of elections. As we think about election security in the long term, it's important to also mention the Voluntary Voting System Guidelines, or VVSG 2.0, and its implementation. Since VVSG 2.0 was unanimously approved by the EAC commissioners in February of 2021, the EAC has been working towards implementation, and soon the next generation of voting system tested to these guidelines will become available. Accreditation of voting system test labs is on the horizon, and next steps are ongoing. As the 2022 general election approaches, the EAC will continue to work with state and local election officials to combat mis- and disinformation, provide tools for them to communicate with voters, and spread the message that they are trusted sources for election information. Thank you all for your participation in today's event. Please reach out to me with any questions and visit eac.gov for our latest resources. I want to thank you and have a great workshop.